The process of crafting a spiritual autobiography has been a life-changing exercise and so very helpful for me in my formation as a follower of Christ. Exploring the story of my own life and walk with God has clarified my faith journey and my own ministry in the world. Hey, we all have spiritual gifts. We know this. They're unique as our fingerprints. And we're called at our baptism to share these gifts. Working on a spiritual autobiography can help us to understand how we are called to use and share our gifts to the glory of God. A spiritual autobiography is a great opportunity to explore how God has been present in our lives. It's an opportunity to get creative, even playful, as we reflect on our lives through a spiritual lens. We can choose from a number of these lenses, perhaps a lens of spiritual growth and maturity, reflecting on the people and experiences that have fostered spiritual growth and how God has shown up through them. We can use art as a medium to explore our lives through color, texture, images, or photography. We can map out our spiritual autobiography on a map or use sticky notes of different colors, maybe placed on a timeline to show different parts of our journey. Once I created a playlist of songs on Spotify that represented different movements of the Spirit in my life. As I told my story in a formation group, I used my cell phone and a Bluetooth speaker to underscore my story. Hey, God's in all the music of my life. Just as God's imagination is unlimited, there is no limit to the different ways we might decide to create our spiritual autobiography. As I create my spiritual autobiographies, and by now there have been several, I ask myself certain questions like, where did you first become aware of God? What role has your family of origin played in your spiritual formation? Who has been important in helping you recognize God? What has that person or persons said or done? What has been your experience with the church? What events or practices have been spiritually formative? How would you describe God? Where do you notice spiritual formation happening in your life? Sharing your spiritual autobiography can be scary. It can be a vulnerable feeling to share our innermost thoughts and feelings with others, especially those about our relationship with God. That's personal stuff. But something happens when we share our spiritual lives with others. We might find we get emotional. That's normal. I did. And this may or may not be surprising. We may be surprised at the connections we make when we see our spiritual life with God in its entirety. We might even find, as we share our stories, that we're not alone, that others have had similar thoughts, feelings, and experiences. After creating and sharing a few spiritual autobiographies, things really began to shift for me. I gained confidence in sharing my story, and I actually looked for opportunities to share with other like-minded people. I gained clarity about my call to ministry, and a certain peace descended upon me around the more difficult passages of my life. I came to see and eventually know that God was indeed present through it all.